Hi guys, and welcome to this week's vlog. As you can see, I have got a new person with me in the camera today. This is Jack, my fiance. He has agreed to do a Q&A with me just off the back of people being quite interested in hearing us chat about what it's like to be in a relationship with a bodybuilder. Myself and Jack's not a bodybuilder, and kind of talk through the different challenges that maybe like come up with prep and the likes of that. So we've had quite a few questions come through, and we're just kind of going to read them out and answer them for you. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the Video Visit YouTube channel. And if you ever want to see more of Jack on the channel with me, also let me know. I'm sure he'll be very pleased to know that. So let's start. Question number one. I'll start with a question that your brother asked. What's Jack's opinion on you prepping?
So my opinion on Clara prepping is I don't mind. It's absolutely fine. I don't have any issues with it. It's not a big deal to me. Kind of just whatever makes Clara happy. There's times where it makes life a little bit awkward, but it's nothing that we can't get around, and it's not a big deal, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that we were speaking about this the other day, that it's not always like the most straightforward thing, and because I've not been a bodybuilder like throughout our whole relationship, I suppose that's something that has kind of changed. But this is the third time that I'm prepping in the last 4 years, and I suppose we've just kind of like learned things as we've gone through the journey. I really appreciate it. Just like as a PSA, I do really appreciate Jack being totally fine with me prepping, because I know that a lot of guys aren't into it, and we'll come on to that later. Another question we had was, do you find going out to eat difficult? And there was another one kind of off the back of like, what's it like going out for date nights together when I am on prep?
Yeah, so that's one of the awkward things, going out to eat. Which, like, for me can be a little bit frustrating, because it's like, well, if we're going to go out somewhere to eat, what's the point in just having nothing to eat when you're there? Mm-hmm. Like, especially the closer you get. So like for that kind of thing, I'll tend to just be like, well, why would we go out for food? Let's just do something different. Mm-hmm. Like, and
I think, I mean, for example, we're going to an escape room in a couple of weeks, and it just means that we have to be maybe a bit more creative with what we do in terms of like spending time together. To be fair, we're like super chilled. We quite like just Netflix and chill, and which is totally fine, and that works well with prep, but it does make things a bit more difficult. And then obviously I think like if I wasn't vegan, going out for food on prep would maybe be a bit easier, because I'd be able to order like steak and veg or something like that, but then it just makes it that's
the other thing,
it makes
with
it
you being vegan. Doing it as well, so it's like going out for food normally, being vegan is not an issue, but you add that in with like limiting what you can eat, that makes it difficult.
Yeah, definitely. So just something we need to work around, I suppose. Next question. Have you ever gone to the gym together to train together, and if yes, how did it go? No, we've not ever been to the gym together to train.
We've been to the gym together, but not to train together.
No, that'd be weird. I don't think I'd enjoy that. And also, you're not into bodybuilding style of training anyway.
Absolutely not.
We've been to jiu-jitsu class. We went to that jiu-jitsu self-defense class together. So Jack is into jiu-jitsu, and that's kind of what he does. And like, that's something that we have done together, but the gym, no, that'd be weird. That's kind of my time.
Yeah.
Not time for us.
Yeah, it's not for me.
No, you probably shoot yourself. Let me see. Does Jack have a hobby that takes up his time too? Just kind of coming off the back of that.
Yeah, so yeah, for me, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that's the big thing for me. So thinking about when, like, if I'm at work and then I'm at Jiu-Jitsu later on, I'll probably not see Clara for most of the day. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's kind of my time to go and do my thing as well. Mm-hmm. And obviously with Clara being so invested in what she's doing with the gym and prep, mm-hmm. and all that kind of stuff, I have the time to go and do it. So I'm kind of lucky. It's not like Clara's like, oh, we should spend more time with me. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, so it's fine.
Yeah, and I think it's always been important to us to make sure that we both do our own thing.
Yeah. And
I think that's why we have been able to sort of survive 2 preps so far, and a lot of like other stuff in our relationship too, because we've been able to support each other and still doing the things that are important to each one of us, and not be like, oh, I'm not into that, so you can't do it, or you can't go away and do jiu-jitsu or whatever it is, and we just find other times to hang out and make it work. So like, if I know that Jack's doing jiu-jitsu, or that isn't doing jiu-jitsu on a given night, then I'll make sure that like I'm definitely done with work by then, and then I do have a bit more time in the evening to spend with him. And then just like adjust my schedule around that.
Because if I'm at jiu-jitsu, I'm not back until, if I've been working all day, I'm not back until 11 o'clock at night, probably.
Past my bedtime.
So
way past my bedtime.
So Clara's got the entire day to do what she wants.
Basically, so, which makes it easy, which makes it great. Does Jack still hate bodybuilding? Shauna asked this question. So for background context, Jack and my best friend Shauna and her partner Chris came to my first ever competition in Manchester, PCA Midlands. No, it wasn't PCA Midlands, it was PCA Manchester, obviously, in September 2018. And Jack's not been to watch me at a show since, because I think one was more than enough to traumatize him. So do you still hate bodybuilding? Yes,
but I have my reasons for hating bodybuilding, and I think they're completely legit. So like, if someone wants to do bodybuilding, whatever, that's fine, more power to you. Like, do what you like, that's fine. But the reason I dislike it is because I think it's all about judging people. Like, when you're competing, it's all about judging people on how they look. And for me, I think there's enough sort of social anxiety and body dysmorphia and issues surrounding how people look and how they're meant to look. And I think for me, in my opinion, bodybuilding is just adding fuel to that fire, because it's like, this is the optimal for physique for this competition. And to me, that's massively negative. I don't think it's a good message. I don't think it's good to promote that kind of lifestyle, because when you get super lean as well, it's unhealthy. Obviously, like, people know what they're doing, so it's fine. But for people on the outside looking in, I don't think it's what someone should be aiming for.
Yeah, and I do think that's, I mean, it's important to say.
The training aspect, fine.
Yeah.
Amazing. All good. I've got no issues. Like, it's fine. But I don't have any issues with people doing it. That's not the thing. It's just, I think there's enough sort of negativity around in how people think they should look, basically.
Yeah. And I think that, I suppose it's like striking that balance too. Like, for me with my clients, it's not something that, unless someone says I want to compete, it's never something I'd encourage someone to do. And I mean, obviously, you know that I'm not preaching that to, but it's for the most part though, like, a bodybuilder, like someone who kind of trains consistently, I personally think that they are quote unquote not healthier than the average person, but someone who's paying attention to what they're eating most of the time in the year, and who's training consistently most of the time of the year, is probably taking more care of themselves than most people.
Yeah,
but I suppose it's like just navigating that balance of like not letting that take over your whole life. Like, if I was on prep mode the whole year round, even when I wasn't on prep and couldn't take a day off, then that would fucking suck. Like, that would be stupid. But yeah, it's about striking that balance. But yeah, I don't think you'll ever be back to another bodybuilding show.
Not likely.
Unless I pay him to be there, like hourly a rate or something like that. Okay, let's move on to the next few questions. Let's see. If you were advising the partner of someone about to start their first ever prep, what would you say? So I suppose that's a question for me. Yeah. If you're advising the partner of someone about, I know that's a question for you, I can answer this, but yeah. What would you say? So yeah, if someone's partner's about to start prep, what would you say from your standpoint?
To be honest, just be like super open with each other, how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Because like, I know when Clara first done it, it was like, I didn't really speak up about how I felt initially. And it was all these little things that it's like, oh, we can't go and do this because you're doing prep, or we can't go and do this because you've got to be at the gym this amount of time, or whatever. It just made things really awkward.
Yeah.
And I didn't really say anything about it until it came to a point where I was like, I need to say something about this, because it's a bit too much. But to be honest, once you get kind of past that, and if you're just open and honest when you're sort of talking about how things are going, then I think it's okay.
Yeah. I think it's just communication, because I think especially that first year, I mean, even like in the second year that I prepped, but the first year I had no idea what I was getting into. Like, I couldn't have anticipated the challenges, and when you are in that prep tunnel, you just don't really realize you are just so in your own little world that you might be doing things that aren't normal, or I mean, I know I get more snappy, and I'm very aware of it now, but you just might not notice it. And just I mean, there's times that we've had those conversations, like I've always been like, oh fuck, like Jack's,
but then
actually,
that's what I would say is call it out instantly, because if you don't call it out instantly, it just becomes a thing that's almost accepted, and then when it becomes too much, it's like, oh well, why didn't you say something earlier? So it goes both ways, I think. And I remember, like, before I started my 2019 prep, I did tell you that I was living in Loughborough at the time, or between Loughborough and Edinburgh, and I said to Jack that he was allowed to choke me out and put me on a train down to Loughborough if I became too much of a monster. And it was a joke, but it genuinely just meant that I wanted to know when, you know, if things were going bad. And same now, like, you know, you always do call me out immediately if I am being snappy for absolutely no reason at all, as opposed to just letting it kind of like grow arms and legs, which I think is the most toxic thing. So communication, people, is the most important thing you can be doing in a relationship anyway, never mind if you're prepping. What's one thing someone that is about to start prep that they should tell their partner? I suppose we just covered it, but I think just letting your partner know that things might change from your end, that you might just have less energy, that going out for food might just get a little bit harder as time goes on, and that eventually you are going to have to maybe just be a bit more strict about like the times that you go to bed, and that you are going to be spending a lot of time doing training and cardio, just making them aware. But then also that it's temporary.
That's so true.
Because it isn't forever, and then things go back to normal. Like, it's not, oh, this is how it's going to be forever. So, and
I think it's being able to also get excited about things that we can do after prep. It's almost like, you know that there's going to be a period of time where you can't do some stuff, but then if you make the time to plan things, like we went out for dinner right after I finished competing in 2019, and we sort of made sure that we were doing stuff, even if it was like ordering pizza or like having the boys round for UFC and just like taking part, and just like having things in the calendar that you can do together is really important. So knowing that it's temporary, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Jack, what do you wish you knew before dating a bodybuilder?
Well, you weren't a bodybuilder when we
started dating.
Got together, so it's not really, I don't think it's really something I wish I knew. So
that's fair enough. And what changes the most in your relationship during prep?
Clara gets skinny. And,
lean! I get lean.
And then, but to be honest, not a lot, really. Like, what is that the question? What changes?
What changes the most in your relationship during
Not
prep?
a whole lot, to be honest.
No.
Like,
I think it's things like pizza on a Friday.
Changes. But I'm the type of person that if Clara's being grumpy or like in a bad mood, I'm going to call her out straight away. I always have. So that gets nipped in the bud straight away, because
whether I'm on prep or not on prep, by the way, because I can get quite snappy.
And I'm just like, fucking relax, bro.
Literally, and and I think it just comes back to, because our communication's always been pretty solid throughout our relationship, it's meant that when it has come to me prepping or taking on something like that, we've been able to navigate it a little bit better, I suppose. Because we've had,
to be honest, the biggest thing is we spend less time together. Really, the biggest thing. But like, for me, I don't really mind, because I just go and do my own thing anyway. So I'm not clingy. I'm not like, oh, we need to do this, we need to spend loads of time together. I'll go and do my own thing. I'll go train jiu-jitsu. I'll play Warzone with my friends. I'll be at work. I'll go and see my friend. I'll go see my family. I'll just do the things that I want to do.
Which I think is important, because then if I'm basically going to bed early, then why should you have to suffer the consequences of that? And then it's just making sure that when you are off work and if I'm off work, that we do kind of just make the time. Like, for me. I love routine and I'm very anal about routines, but then like changing it, for example, on a weekend if Jack's off work, like changing my training schedule so I can actually spend time with him, then it's just small things like that. Okay, what is the worst change in Clara since she's become a full-time coach / kind of gone into bodybuilding and coaching full-time?
I wouldn't say it's the worst thing would be probably just stress and like managing to deal with stress.
Yeah, but that's always been something for me anyway.
Yeah. But then you've got the added pressures of being self-employed and things. But yeah, probably just that. And then the best thing. What's it? The best thing when you're
the best change.
Oh, since you become full-time.
Or like a bodybuilder, or kind of gone into this world a little bit more.
You're always home to clean the house.
Which I never do, by the way.
I don't know. Just you're happy doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And which makes me happy. It's like, well, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do.
Yeah. So. I think definitely the pressures that come with being self-employed are a kind of different kettle of fish, but then at least, as you said, I like what I do, whereas last year when I was still working full-time and taking on board coaching clients, that was really intense, because then I definitely, I was in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, working until 8 p.m. every night after my job, and I didn't feel like I had any time there. But stress has been something that I've struggled with for as long as we've been together, if not longer, in my own life. So that's always something ongoing. Work in progress, though, I promise. Work in progress. Yeah. Let me see. Clara, do you ever feel guilty for having what is deemed a selfish hobby? Yes, I do. I feel quite bad, actually, sometimes, especially when it does come to having to say no to things, or just even prioritizing my bedtime over going to hang out with your family and things like that. I don't like having to set that boundary. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. I would much rather and even now as a reflection on prep, I'm right, well, in the off season I definitely need to make sure that I do those things more, and that I'm more consciously aware of it. But it does make me feel a bit guilty at times, because it is super time consuming. Even on weekends, when we're having a lie-in, in the back of my mind I'm right, well, I'm going to be getting up to do my cardio, I need to do my posing, and it's all these different things. So I know it is a lot of me thinking about me, and a lot of me putting my needs above everything else. And I suppose it's it gets harder the closer you get to shows. But again, because we've always been really good at sort of supporting each other in our own journeys, and again, just communication. I know that Jack kind of gets it, even though you don't like bodybuilding or whatever, you're still, if you ever wanted me to stop doing it, you would also communicate that, but I know that you wouldn't say that, because you know how passionate I am about it. So I guess it's just...
Yeah, but I also don't, there's something you like doing and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So
stop doing it.
I think it is feeling a bit guilty sometimes, but then just kind of naming it, and then making sure that I feel at least I'm making an effort to balance things out elsewhere, and just kind of checking in with Jack and saying, this is what I'm thinking, or what do you think about this and that, and where can we make time to spend time together, essentially.
A few moments later.
Jack, is there anything you could say to someone's partner that isn't so keen on the idea of their partner getting on stage in a bikini and heels that would make them understand / feel a bit better about it?
First of all, if you as a partner are uncomfortable with your partner getting on stage in a bikini, then you need to find out the issue yourself. I think. I don't see why you would have an issue with it. If your partner goes to the beach with you in a bikini, what's the difference? Yeah, you're on stage, people are looking at you, maybe. Are people looking at you in a sexualized way? Well, maybe. But then someone could be looking at you in a sexualized way at the beach, or anything, or on photos of you online. It doesn't. if you're uncomfortable with your partner being in the eyes of other people in a bikini, then you need to figure out why that makes you feel uncomfortable. Because that's not an issue with them, that's an issue with you, in my opinion. I'm not bothered at all that Clara goes on stage in a bikini. Yeah, at first I was a bit like, oh, that's weird. But I don't care. I never felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I went to the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I feel more uncomfortable looking at the other people when she was on stage, I feel more uncomfortable with that.
Naked
Like-
men, basically semi-naked men posing in trunks too.
No, not that. That doesn't bother me
Yeah.
either. But like, it's your body. You can do what you want with it. At the end of the day, if you want to go on stage in a bikini, fine.
Yeah.
Like, why? I don't. That if you have an issue with it, it's your problem, basically.
Yes, I agree. And it's such a shame that so many girls get put off because their partners aren't that keen on them stepping on stage in a bikini. Again, it's something that I'm super grateful that you understand, that you kind of don't really care about in that way. Because it just means that you're not insecure about yourself, and we're not insecure in our relationship, and I think that's what it is.
If you're bothered about your girlfriend or your wife or your fiance or whatever getting on stage in a bikini,
Yeah.
if that bothers you, you're insecure about
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Because what are you jealous that other guys are going to be looking at them?
Fucking weird.
Probably. If you're insecure about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
If other guys are looking at you, cool, you're with me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Big fucking deal.
Yeah.
I don't care. So, but some people are weird, so.
I know, yeah, and I do think that it is such a shame, and obviously, I think like the common thread in the kind of Q&A and the questions and answers that we've given is that communication is so important, like obviously in relationships anyway, but especially if you're going to be going into something like a prep or having a sport that is going to require a lot of time and a lot of sort of like selfish time invested in you and all that. Just communicating is so freaking important. Because if that's not there, then like the amount of couples that break up during prep, and I think it's just because they're not communicating their own needs. And like, if you didn't tell me when things bothered you, I'd never know.
No, I know.
And if I didn't tell you what's about to come, or kind of like anticipate that things might change, and kind of speak about the fact that it is temporary and kind of like learn to navigate it together, then it would be impossible. It really just wouldn't work. So I think that's something that, well, I'm personally really grateful for, because I think, if, I don't know what would have happened if you weren't happy with me bodybuilding, or I probably either we wouldn't be together or I would have just stopped competing, but then I'd be not happy. And I think it's just like supporting your partner's interests and passions and for what they do. Yeah, anything else to add? All good in the hood. Well, we'll wrap up the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed having Jack here with me. If you'd like us to do another Q&A at any point, please do let us know. I'm sure I can rope Jack into doing another one of these.
I love being in front of the camera.
Yeah, especially with the ring light. Jack, I got this ring light, by the way, and Jack was the first to test it out and take selfies with it before I even gave it a go. So, but thank you so much for watching the video. As always, it's hugely appreciated. Like I said, if you've got any other questions for us, please do let us know, and I will catch everybody in the next vlog. Bye for now.